If you're doing keto and your hunger feels louder, sharper, or more urgent than it used to, that's worth a closer look. Keto can reduce appetite for many people, but it can also backfire when something is off. The goal isn't to push through hunger at all costs. The goal is to understand what your body is signaling. Sometimes it's a simple fix, like protein or electrolytes. Other times it's a sign you're under-eating, over-restricting, or running on stress. In this guide, you'll learn the warning signs that keto hunger might be a problem and what to check before it turns into cravings, binges, or burnout. Think of hunger like a dashboard light. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you need information. We'll separate normal adjustment hunger from red flag hunger, and we'll keep it practical so you can make small changes with confidence. Moving to slide 2. First, let's define what normal hunger can look like on keto. In the first 1 to 2 weeks, your body is switching fuel sources. Glycogen drops, water shifts, and your routine changes. It's common to feel hunger at your usual meal times, even if you're eating enough. It's also common to confuse thirst with hunger, especially when carbs are lower and you lose more sodium and water. Normal hunger tends to be gradual. It shows up, you eat, and it settles. It doesn't feel like an emergency. It also doesn't come with a strong sense of panic or irritability. If your hunger is mild, predictable, and improves when you add protein, fluids, or salt, that's usually a good sign. The warning signs we're covering are different. They're persistent, intense, or paired with other symptoms that suggest your plan needs a check-in. Moving to slide 3. Warning sign number 1 is hunger that feels urgent and hard to ignore, even right after you eat. This is the kind of hunger that doesn't build slowly. It hits fast, and it feels like you need food now. When that happens on keto, one common cause is that your meals are too low in protein. Protein is the most reliable macronutrient for satiety, and it also supports muscle maintenance. Another cause is meals that are mostly added fats, like butter, oils, or fat bombs, without enough solid food volume. Fat can help, but it doesn't always trigger fullness the way protein and fiber-rich low-carb vegetables do. A third cause is going too low on total calories without realizing it. If your hunger is urgent, your first check-in is simple. Are you consistently hitting a reasonable protein target at each meal? And are you eating real meals, not just fat add-ons? Moving to slide 4. The next warning sign is wired but hungry. You feel keyed up, restless, and snacky, especially in the afternoon or late evening. This pattern often overlaps with stress hormones and sleep debt. When you're not sleeping enough, appetite regulation shifts. Studies show sleep restriction can increase hunger and cravings, and it can make willpower feel weaker. On keto, that can show up as relentless grazing, even if your carb intake is low. Another contributor is too much caffeine on an empty stomach, which can suppress appetite early and then rebound later. A practical check-in here is to look at your last 3 nights of sleep and your caffeine timing. If hunger spikes on the days after poor sleep, that's not a discipline issue. It's a recovery issue. The fix is often boring but effective. More consistent sleep, earlier caffeine cutoffs, and a protein-forward first meal. Moving to slide 5. Warning sign number 3 is dizziness, headaches, or feeling off, paired with hunger that won't settle. On keto, this often points to electrolytes, especially sodium. When carbs drop, insulin drops, and your kidneys tend to excrete more sodium and water. That can leave you feeling lightheaded, headachy, and oddly hungry. Sometimes people interpret that feeling as, I need more food, when the faster fix is fluids and salt. Potassium and magnesium can matter too, but sodium is usually the first place to look. A check-in question is, are you salting your food enough? And are you drinking in a way that matches your activity and climate? If you're exercising, sweating, or doing sauna, the need goes up. The key is to treat this as a signal to rebalance, not as a reason to white-knuckle through discomfort. Moving to slide 6. Another red flag is when hunger turns into obsessive food thoughts. You're technically not hungry, but you can't stop thinking about food. You plan, browse recipes, or mentally negotiate your next snack all day. This can happen when keto becomes too restrictive, especially if you cut carbs, calories, and food variety at the same time. Your brain reads that as scarcity. It also happens when you rely on hyper-palatable keto treats. Even if they're low-carb, they can keep the reward loop running, so your mind stays locked on food. A check-in here is to look at your food environment and your rules. Are you avoiding whole categories of foods you actually tolerate well, like berries or yogurt, just because they're not perfect? Sometimes a more flexible low-carb approach reduces obsession and improves consistency. The goal is calm eating, not constant negotiation. Moving to slide 7, let's talk about a very specific pattern, hunger that shows up as nausea or a hollow stomach feeling, especially in the morning. On keto, some people delay meals or do intermittent fasting without meaning to because appetite drops early on. But if you push that too far, your first real meal can feel uncomfortable and your hunger signals can get confusing. Another cause is too much fat too fast. Heavy fat can slow stomach emptying and create nausea, even while you're still under-eating protein. A check-in is to simplify breakfast for a few days. Try a smaller, protein-centered meal with moderate fat, and see if your hunger becomes clearer and more stable. If nausea is persistent or severe, that's a stronger sign to pause and get individualized help. Hunger should feel like information, not like sickness. Moving to slide 8. Warning sign number 6 is performance drop. Your workouts feel harder, your walks feel heavy, and hunger gets worse on training days. Keto can work with exercise, but the transition can be bumpy, and some people underfuel without noticing. If you're lifting, doing high-intensity intervals, or training for endurance, you may need more total calories, more protein, and sometimes more targeted carbs. Not everyone needs that, but it's a valid tool. Another overlooked factor is recovery. If you train hard and sleep poorly, hunger can spike as your body tries to compensate. A check-in is to compare rest days to training days. If hunger is manageable on rest days but chaotic after workouts, your plan likely needs a training day adjustment. That might mean a bigger post-workout meal, more sodium, or shifting calories earlier in the day. Moving to slide 9. Now a big one, hunger that comes with mood changes. You feel irritable, anxious, or unusually emotional, and food feels like the only thing that will fix it. Some of that can be normal during adaptation, but if it's intense or persistent, it's a sign to check your basics. Start with total intake. If your carbs are low and your calories are also very low, your brain may interpret that as threat. Next, check micronutrients and electrolytes again, because low sodium can feel like fatigue and irritability. Also check your meal spacing. Some people do better with 3 solid meals during the first month, rather than long fasting windows. The point is not to win keto by suffering. The point is to find a version that supports stable mood and stable appetite. If your relationships or daily functioning are taking a hit, that's a clear reason to reassess. Moving to slide 10. Warning sign number 8 is digestive trouble that pairs with hunger, bloating, constipation, or reflux, plus a feeling that you're never satisfied. Keto often changes fiber intake, and some people drop vegetables without meaning to. Others increase dairy, sugar alcohols, or very fatty foods, which can irritate digestion. When digestion is off, fullness signals can get weird. You may feel physically uncomfortable and still want to eat. A smart check-in is to audit your keto staples. Are you relying heavily on cheese, cream, and packaged low-carb products? Are you getting enough low-carb vegetables, chia, flax, or other fiber sources you tolerate? Also consider meal size. Very large, very fatty meals can worsen reflux. The goal is to make your meals easier to digest while still satisfying. Often small changes like more vegetables, more water, and slightly less added fat. Moving to slide 11. Here's a subtle but important warning sign. Your hunger is fine on perfect days, but it explodes the moment life gets messy. You miss a meal, you travel, you have a stressful day, and suddenly you're ravenous. That often means your plan has no buffer. It's too rigid, too low calorie, or too dependent on ideal conditions. A resilient keto approach includes boring, repeatable meals that travel well and keep you full. It also includes a realistic emergency plan, like a protein option you can get almost anywhere. Another check-in is whether you're using keto to avoid hunger entirely. Hunger will still happen. The skill is responding early with a solid meal, not waiting until you're desperate. If your hunger only stays controlled when everything is perfect, that's a sign to build a more flexible structure. Moving to slide 12. Let's cover a pattern that can be confusing. Hunger that feels like cravings for specific foods. especially sweet or crunchy foods. On keto, cravings can come from habit and reward, but they can also come from being too low on overall energy, too low on protein, or too low on sleep. Another trigger is relying on sweet keto substitutes. Even without sugar, sweet taste can keep the craving pathway active for some people. A check-in is to run a short experiment. For a week, prioritize savory, protein-centered meals, keep sweet flavors minimal, and see what happens to cravings. Also check your meal composition. If your meals are mostly fat with minimal protein, cravings often get louder. The goal isn't to fear cravings, it's to treat them as feedback. When cravings drop after better protein and better sleep, you've found a lever you can actually control. Moving to slide 13. Now let's get practical. A simple check-in protocol for keto hunger. First ask, did I eat enough protein in my last meal? If not, fix that first. Second, ask, did I get enough fluids and sodium in the last few hours? If you're lightheaded or headachy, that's a clue. Third, ask, how was my sleep last night? And how stressed am I? If the answer is not great, plan a steadier day with regular meals. Fourth, look at your food quality. Whole foods tend to satisfy better than liquid calories or packaged keto snacks. Fifth, zoom out to your weekly trend. If hunger is escalating week after week, that's not just adaptation. It's a sign your setup is mismatched to your body or your lifestyle. This check-in isn't about perfection. It's about catching problems early. Moving to slide 14. Finally, when should you stop experimenting and actually check in with a professional? If hunger is paired with fainting, chest pain, severe weakness, persistent vomiting, or confusion, that's urgent. Also check in if you have diabetes, take blood pressure medications, have a history of eating disorders, are pregnant, or have kidney disease, because keto changes fluid balance and energy intake, and you deserve individualized guidance. For everyone else, a good rule is duration and impact. If intense hunger lasts more than 2 weeks, despite fixing protein, electrolytes, sleep, and meal structure, it's time to reassess. Keto is a tool, not a test of character. If it's making you feel out of control around food, it's okay to adjust the approach, raise carbs slightly, or move to a more moderate low-carb plan. If this was helpful, subscribe for more calm, practical nutrition breakdowns, and comment A or B. A, your hunger is mostly urgent, or B, it's mostly cravings. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Metabolism first. Everything else follows.